country was founded by Christians to be one nation under God, and a country in which people could freely live their Christian lifestyles. There are people, I guess some signs over there, talking about separation of church and state, and one of the later speakers will address it more in depth. But we know that we expected our country to be a very Christian country, and the Christian values of the people who founded our country to be woven into our government. Unfortunately today, we have a government that in many ways is practicing something, I suppose you'd say, kind of like a religion. It's radical anti-Christian atheism. And that is what has become of our government. Not our people. We have so many good people in this country, but our government is practicing radical anti-Christian extremism. And I'm going to point out 3 ways in which it's happening, and then talk about what we have to do to overdo it. The first thing is our schools. Okay? In our public schools, in many areas, whether you look at the way I describe our history, you go back and look at the documents of a George Washington or a John Adams or a James Madison, their belief in God and a belief in Christ just oozes out of all their writings, right? Nevertheless, you pick up a textbook in the American public schools today, and sadly a textbook in too many of the private schools as well, and they whitewash the most important part of our founding out of our history. You look at what a biology textbook does to long discredited theories of evolution. And to this day, they are described as fact. Another overt attack, even among our youngest children, on the Christian beliefs parents are trying to instill in those children. You look at the human growth and development classes, even in the elementary schools, promoting sex among children, even in middle school, describing, even in elementary school, homosexuality, which without all the human history has been considered an aberration, is being taught at this young age by the government. Every one of those things, you'd say, is our government, be it what they do in their human growth and development classes, be it what they do in describing our country's history, what they do in our biology classes, are trying to remove a faith in Christ from our young people. You look at our culture outside of the schools. One more time, we have a program in this country, well-funded Planned Parenthood, trying to give contraceptives to gals as young as 15 without their parents' knowledge. In other words, one more time, the government overtly spending tens of millions of dollars trying to persuade our young people not to adopt a Christian lifestyle. We have in this state civil unions in our county clerk's office, one more time encouraging people in this country, including young people who see this, again to believe that Christianity is not true and that we should adopt the horrible, hateful, anti-Christian lifestyle of these people. But it goes beyond that, what has become of our government. I look at our foreign policy. There was a time when it was expected America would be the light unto the world, right? And people would turn to America to be more like America, and they would want to be like America. When you see Americans' foreign policy, what do you see? This is what I see. I see in Red China a country engaging in forced abortions. I see leading American politicians like Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton going over there and speaking kind of dancing around the issue, and sometimes speaking somewhat favorably on the issue of what's going on in Red China. That is the light we are shining the world today. We have a goal of Planned Parenthood, which is largely a government-funded organization. Their goal for Africa, think about Africa, a very poor country. They look at the wealth of our country. They want to be more like our country. Planned Parenthood, goal in the next 5 years, $82 increase in abortion services. That's what America is giving to Africa now. I know we have good missionaries in Africa, but it's a drop in the bucket compared to what our government is doing to those people. Look what happened when America got involved in Iraq. How many people here are familiar with the Chaldean Christians? At the time America got involved in Iraq, there were 400,000 Chaldean Christians. And they had been around there, and their predecessors had been around there since the first century. 400,000. 10 years after America got involved in Iraq, how many Chaldean Christians are in Iraq? 200,000. Half of them have been killed or forced to leave the country. Isn't that horrible? They fared better under Saddam Hussein than they did once the United States got involved. So wherever you look, all our blessings that we've been given, our material blessings, are being turned against Christ. Be it in our schools, be it in how our government interacts with our people outside of school, and the light that we are shining onto the world. Be it the tens of millions of dollars flooded into Africa to promote their pro-Planned Parenthood lifestyle, being our public pronouncements in Red China, the largest and most populated country in the world, or what happened once the United States got involved in Iraq. So what do we have to do? I still believe America is a great, good Christian people. We have to pray for better leaders, right? Because to a certain extent, leaders are a judgment on us. We have to encourage our churches to speak out boldly on their issues. One thing that bothers me right away, and a suggestion for any of the churches who are around here, they are filing lawsuits to make sure that the Catholic Church does not have to pay for contraceptives. Does that hit you as unusually wimpy? I mean, the implication being that if you are a Catholic or Baptist businessman, that you should have to pay for it. It's only a church thing. So we have to encourage the church to dial it up a little bit more and more boldly speak out against the government when they promote their anti-Christian message. And finally, we ourselves have to read the Bible and devote ourselves on being more Christian. Oh, the one other thing I didn't touch on. In America today, 30 years after Roe v. Wade, we still have almost 1 million abortions a year, despite the fact that we've been blessed with an ultrasound, so nobody could possibly understand what's going on. So we must pray for America. We must live a more godly lifestyle. And we must encourage our clergy to be more outspoken. I'd like to thank you for being here today. It's very important we be here and bear witness on our anger at the way our Christian faith is being treated in our schools, the government outside of the schools, and the anti-Christian light that the American government is shining on us today. Thank you.